Today we're making vanilla cake. A light and soft vanilla sponge coupled with smooth and fluffy vanilla buttercream makes for an easy recipe that can be tweaked for a variety of color or flavor combinations. Start by preheating your oven and preparing your baking trays. I usually use baking paper, but on this day I didn't have any, so I took inspiration from my great-grandmother's tips and tricks and tried the butter and flour method. This was my first time using it, and to be honest, it worked flawlessly. All you need to do is generously coat your baking tray in butter and then add some flour to the pan. Shake the flour around so that you have an even coat across the entire baking tray, and then throw out any excess flour. You'll see later in the video how easy the cake comes out. Prepare your dry ingredients. You'll need flour, salt, bicarb, and baking powder. Whisk everything together and set it aside for later. Next up, you'll need butter and sugar. You'll want to beat the butter and sugar together really well for a long time so that the sugar dissolves completely and the butter gets incorporated with lots of air. This results in a softer and fluffier cake. With my stand mixer, I mixed on high speed for about 5 to 8 minutes, scraping down the bowl with a spatula regularly to ensure everything gets distributed evenly. Next, add in 3 eggs, one by one, mixing well in between each addition. Add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and mix together one last time before scraping the bowl down to ensure everything has combined well. With the mixer running on low, add in the dry ingredients that you mixed together before. When the dry and wet ingredients are just starting to come together, add in the buttermilk with the mixer running and continue to let it run for a minute or two so that everything is well combined, but do not overmix. Scrape down the bowl one last time and mix it through by hand. These mixes are great, but they don't catch everything at the bottom of the bowl, so it's always a good idea to fold the batter by hand to ensure that everything is well combined. And there you have a simple but delicious vanilla cake ready to bake. Evenly divide the batter between 2 cake pans and spread out the batter evenly using a spatula or palette knife. The cakes are done when the skewer inserted into a cake comes out clean. Allow to cool in the pans for 5 minutes before transferring the cake to a wire cooling rack to cool down completely. Now onto the frosting. I made a simple vanilla buttercream, but you can use a different frosting or simply add some extras to this recipe to make your own creation. Start by whipping softened butter until super light and fluffy, probably double the time you spent whipping the butter for the cake. The more you whip it, the lighter the color of the butter will become, eventually turning almost white. This is how you'll know when your butter is ready. Next, add in vanilla and half of the sifted icing sugar and mix together until well combined. Add the rest of the icing sugar and mix again. Add in 80 ml of milk, and if using, add your food coloring in at this stage and mix again until everything is well incorporated. Scrape down the bowl and marvel at the sights of your very own homemade vanilla buttercream. Now on to decorating. I am by no means an expert, but I'll share some tips I learned along the way. Hopefully this helps. Level your cake with a serrated knife or a cake leveler. This ensures that your cake layers can sit flush atop each other. You can also use a plate or any shape that is slightly smaller than the cake to trim off the caramelized edges of the cake. You can of course skip these steps entirely. Now that your layers are ready, start by placing a bit of buttercream on your cake board and place the first cake layer on top of it, pressing down gently. This ensures that your cake won't slip around the board. Top it off with as much icing as you like and smooth it out for a flat surface for the next layer of cake to rest on. Place the next layer of cake on top of the icing and then repeat if you've got more than 2 layers. Now coat the top and sides of the cake with a thin layer of icing. Smooth it out and place in the fridge for at least half an hour. This is called a crumb coat and it prevents the crumbs from ending up in the final layer of icing. Now you can coat your cake in icing completely, using whatever tools you have available. And it's at this point that I realized I completely lost the footage of me decorating the cake, if you could even believe that. So enjoy this little loop of me cutting the cake, because that's all I have of the final product, and may this be a lesson to myself and to everyone wanting to do these types of videos. Back up your videos. Thanks for watching.